Please try and sit still. You know, I apologize for the happen. I don't know, some technological glitch or something I clicked on wrong. I don't know. That's why the class started a little late. Does anyone have a question? Everybody. Yes, Luke.
Yes, I have a question. You write in your series in part 11 about nothingness, emptiness. And so when I'm centered and well grounded, I experience a fullness that is very present as a subtle inspiration or something like that. So I'm wondering about what you actually mean with the nothingness or emptiness, because it is not something I'm experiencing. So
Well,
could it be that emptiness is an experience and not a practice?
no, it's not. Look, you know, nothingness. Look, what interferes with anyone's spiritual life is their ego, the tension inside them, the chit-chat in the mind, the emotional turmoil that goes on inside people, the sexual turmoil that goes on inside people. And when I talk about nothingness, I mean the elimination of all of that chaos, where there's quiet inside people. There's depth of quiet, there's silence, which allows then one to be a receptacle for the energy of God, the Shakti, that now has room to flow through one and to nurture one and to build one's system inside themselves.
Yes.
This is what I mean. I mean, I don't mean that we, turn into zombies, it's a nothingness that has to do with the ability and the strength inside a human being to let go of all the encumbrances, all the things that keep us from truly being connected with spirit.
Mm-hmm.
And most people live their lives based on ego, charisma, personality, tension, my God, the tensions that are in people determine so much of the way they act every day. And, and the whole purpose of this meditation is to build a system inside that enables us to get free of all that stuff. Mm-hmm. So we can be literally children of God. That energy of spirit has room to flow through us and to guide our lives. Instead of tension and anxiety and neurosis and all the stuff that makes people's lives impossible,
Yeah. So it is about being humble then.
Yes, being
emptying
humble.
the mind, being aware of what you are doing with your energies.
Living in the moment.
Yeah. Surrender, maybe.
Very deep surrender.
Surrender to what?
Surrender to growth, to spirit, to a higher force of energy that can live inside you. Surrender, all of these things that we grapple with every day that always lead nowhere, that are just illusions, that we grapple with every day. Yeah. Making room in ourselves for a higher force of energy to live, for God, call it what you want, God, higher energy, to live inside us.
Inside.
And that is what this meditation is about. It's about transforming all of the internal chaos into love, into silence, into gratitude, into a way of living in which we literally become servants of a higher force of energy in the universe. Because there's room in us for it to flow through. We're no longer creating obstacles to keep that energy from flowing. We're no longer damming up the works. And this is very important, because otherwise, what determines people's lives is just ego. It's just, tension. It's just all that anxiety that's inside people that determines the way they live. And of course, it affects the other people that exist in our lives. They have to deal with us instead of us being able to embrace them and love them unconditionally and allow this energy to nurture the people that are in our lives.
Yeah.
So mostly surrender is about letting go of oneself. Look, I've said a million times, the only thing that keeps any human being from having a spiritual life is himself. And surrender has to do with letting go of all of the things that separate us from having a spiritual life. Now, a spiritual life doesn't mean we suddenly go live in a monastery or a cave or, It just means we are completely present in the moment.
Yeah, I think I was asking this because sometimes, not in this class, but in other teachers, they present this emptiness as some kind of goal or something that you have to have to make a practice about to become empty and create a distance so you don't sense, and you know what I mean.
Well, no, my idea of empty, I don't want to differ with what other people teach. That's not why I'm here.
Okay.
But my thing of emptiness is being totally present in the world. You cannot be totally present in the world if your mind is yakking away. Because then you're in the future, you're in the past, you're worried, you're this, you're that. Being completely present, living life in the moment, fully and completely. And that creates a sacred garden around one. Everything in life becomes sacred, becomes our teacher. That's a state of emptiness, not backing away from life and not living in life, but embracing life and everything life has to teach us.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So I don't know what other people teach. Sometimes I wonder about what other people teach, but I stay out of their business. I'm not interested. I'm only interested in, it took me years to build this consciousness.
I have been searching for a long time, and I have had different teachers, and last couple of days I was meditating about these differences and what are the results of that and so on. This spiritual journey is an experiment for everyone because we want to experience it. So that's why this question came up.
No, it's a very good question, Luke, and it's something that I think everyone grapples with. Everyone has to deal with that question. And every teacher has a different answer. That complicates life for people that study. It's true, I stopped listening years ago. I said, okay, Stuart, listen to the voice in yourself. Listen to what it tells you. And when I used to sit with my teacher, Rudy, this is true. I cannot remember one lecture that my teacher, Rudy, gave in my head. Not one lecture. But every lecture he ever gave, all the Shakti, all the energy came into me and is part of me. But if I try to think about one lecture, I can't remember one. Yet all the wisdom and the energy and the Shakti and the nurturing, it absorbed inside me as energy and it transformed me. And anytime I need those teachings, they just come up. He even told me, he said, never listen to me, just take the energy in. Don't listen, take in the energy, the Shakti, change in yourself. because, look, you have 10 different teachers. They're going to interpret this thing in 10 different ways. They'll all make you crazy. And it's not here to listen to what I talk about. It's to take in the Shakti and transform your chakra system, your inner life, to where there is a state of nothingness inside. And that state of nothingness doesn't mean that you're not living, that you walk away from the world. It means you are totally living in the world. You completely embrace life. Everything that life has to teach you is important in your spiritual growth. So I can honestly, even my teacher told me, don't listen to me, just take the Shakti. And I would sit and he'd be fighting with his mother, for God's sake. And I'm sitting there doing my meditation, taking in the Shakti. And I didn't care. You understand? I really didn't care. It was my teacher. This man saved my life. If he wants to fight with his mother, that's his problem. I wanted the energy. I would take the Shakti in, because I wasn't there to judge him and is it right? Is it wrong? I was there to grow and to get my life, for God's sake. And he was the only one I'd ever met who was capable of doing it for me. So I never cared what he said. He used to say, I used to hear about his relationships and this, stories that would, and it didn't matter to me. I just wanted the energy. I would sit there and just sit and open and take in the energy. Because otherwise I would have started judging and this and that, and I didn't care. I needed a spiritual life more than I needed to judge my teacher on what he was saying. I needed that Shakti. And these classes are exactly the same thing. You understand? Take in the energy. Grow because of it. Because if you start trying to analyze me, you can find 5 billion things wrong with me, for God's sake, I'm the first one to admit it. Rudy was the first one to admit it. But there's a Shakti and a force here that can transform anyone's life if they just take it in without analyzing it and judging it. I heard somebody once say, how can I study with Rudy? He's fat. I really did. I heard somebody say this. And I looked at him, I said, all I saw coming out of Rudy was light and love and a person who had so much caring inside him that he was willing to take on this crazy kid Stuart and save his life. So how do I judge? I just... And these classes are about exactly the same thing. I'm not here to judge any of you. I'm here to open and allow the Shakti to flow and hopefully to see you. One day I'd like to see some of you sitting here and doing this. I mean it. Look, how long am I going to live, for God's sake? I got to train people to where they can do this kind of thing. That state of nothingness, total surrender, being in the moment, being a child of God, allowing that energy to flow and not judging anybody. Because everybody is screwed up in some way. Every human being has problems, And that's not my problem. My problem is to nurture people and to help them to grow. Does anyone else have a question I would like to ask? And this is going to be an extraordinary year. I'm telling you, I can feel it in my fingertips that this year there's going to be an enormous amount of growth. There are going to be, I think, a lot of people coming to these classes, and I can see it. I can feel it, I have to grow. And in these meditations, I keep going to Rudy and Nichinon, give me the energy to deal with 2023. I have to go somewhere to get that energy. My teachers are there to provide that. And I got to go and ask them. And every class I ask them, because I can feel what's going to take place this year. It's going to be very big growth. And I'm going to need that energy to deal with it. Does anyone else have a question they would like to ask? And it makes me grateful for all of you. I mean it. I told you, so many, you all are my teacher. You all demand that I am here doing this. As I say, someday I would like to see somebody else here doing this, and I can have a cup of tea with them and, you know, and pass on this incredible thing that I have learned. Happy New Year. God bless you. Does anyone else have a question they would like to? There will be a class on Thursday. I apologize for what happened. I don't even know why it happened. I just had to go back and resend another invitation. And a lot of people didn't wait. They missed a very good class. So thank you for waiting and having patience. And there will be a class Thursday. Hello? There will be a class on Thursday. And I'm looking forward to seeing everybody. God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you, Stuart.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Stuart.